Just the most lucrative term. What is the stipend? Means people say it is 70,000. It varies, or it is freezes for 5 years, or 70,000 is
No.
a fixed
So
amount.
first, for the first 2 year of PMRF, you will get 70,000 as monthly stipend.
Okay.
In third year, you will get 75,000 monthly stipend. And in the
Okay.
last 2 year of our PhD, you will get 80,000 monthly stipend.
Before starting today's lecture, let me take a few seconds to introduce our content. We make videos on the following topics: postgrad guidance, honest reviews of colleges, interview with IITians, coding series, and in case you have not subscribed, please do it now. Let's continue today's lecture. नमस्कार। आज का जो टॉपिक है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। आज जो डिस्कस करने वाले हैं वो है पीएमआरएफ के बारे में, प्राइम मिनिस्टर रिसर्च फेलो। इसके जो बेनिफिट्स हैं वो बहुत ज्यादा है। आपको पीएचडी तो करना ही करना है, लेकिन आपका जो स्टाइपेंड होगा वो बहुत हाई होगा कंपेयर टू नॉर्मल पीएचडी। इसके अंदर आपका सिलेक्शन कैसे होगा, कौन कौन से वेज है, और सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट आपका जो प्रिपरेशन होगा वो आपको कैसे करना चाहिए, वो सारी चीजें आज जो डाउट्स थे वो हम क्लियर करेंगे खुद एक पीएमआर स्टूडेंट जो कि करंटली एनरोल्ड है आईआईटी गांधीनगर में। उनसे स्टार्ट कन्वर्सेशन करने से पहले मैं आपको ये बता दूं कि उन्होंने अपना जो बीटेक था वो किया था एनआईटी पटना से। हाँ, तो सबसे पहले आई वेलकम यू अभिषेक पांडे। कैन यू जस्ट इंट्रोड्यूस योरसेल्फ बिट टू द ऑडियंस?
Thank you, Deep. So you have given the introduction of myself. No, again, I am introducing myself. So I did my BTech from NIT Patna, and and I just joined in the same year in IIT Gandhinagar. So after 2 years of my PhD, I got PMRF fellowship in civil engineering department. So currently I'm in 5th year. So I'm awarded this fellowship for 3 years only. So I am in the last year of the fellowship.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the procedure for getting this? Means, is there any ways? I know there are two ways. One is a direct entry, and the second is a lateral entry. So, what is? Can you lead us more about direct entry? What are the modes?
So when I joined, I was selected for this PMRF fellowship. The selection criteria was slightly different. So
Okay.
it is changing now. It has changed a lot quite. So in this year, so they have introduced multiple steps so that you can get selected in a PMRF. Like they have introduced lateral entry. So if
Okay, correct.
you are already enrolled in some IITs or ISC or IASR, so
Okay.
you can join the college as PMRF candidate laterally. So the college or the concerned authority will recommend you as a
Okay.
PMRF for the PMRF fellowship, and after the screening process, you will get the offer letter. So yes, and second thing is that you write your own proposal problem statement. Sometimes we
Okay.
can call it proposal, and the nodal committee, the committee will screen that your proposal, and after that they will call you for interview, and that is the other way of selection. So
Okay.
mainly these two ways,
Two
these
modes
are
are
the
there.
ways for selection. Yes.
तो आपका जो सिलेक्शन हुआ था वो कौन सी बेसिस पे हुआ था? मीन्स आप डायरेक्ट एंट्री से हुए थे या लेटरल एंट्री से?
So that time only direct entry was allowed,
अच्छा.
not lateral entry. It was introduced later.
Okay, so if we go specific to direct entry, so what are the steps? Means you come from NIT. So are there any restrictions that you have to be something of CPI or topper? Is there any criteria for that specific, or you just need to be a NIT, IIT, IIC, or II, triple IT colleges?
So when I was selected,
Mhm.
there were criteria like you have to be from NIT, IIT, or some selected institute.
Okay.
Now they have relaxed this criteria. So they have asked those who have scored get score more than 750, I think, and you
Mhm.
are from any institute, so you are
Mhm.
eligible for the PMRF fellowship. So when I was applied, these were not the things. Only you if you are from IIT, NIT, you can apply, and your CGPA should be above than 8.
More than it. Okay.
More
So
than
your
8, yes.
CGPA has to be more than it, and then you are
Yes.
eligible.
Yes.
Gate score is not a prerequisite
Gate
if you
score,
come.
that time gate score was not
Prerequisite.
included in the criteria. Yes.
Correct. Just the most lucrative term. What is the stipend? Means people say it is 70,000. It varies, or it is freezes for 5 years or 70,000 is
No.
a fixed
So
amount?
first, for the first 2 year of PMRF, you will get
Mhm.
70,000 as monthly stipend.
Okay.
In third year, you will get 75,000 monthly stipend. And in the
Okay.
last 2 year of our PhD, you will get 80,000 monthly stipend.
It,
Other than this,
Mhm.
you will get 2 lakh per annum as contingency fund.
Oh, that's it. And this is completely non-taxable. Like what we get a
Yes,
stipend,
yes,
it is
yes,
completely
yes.
non-taxable.
Non-taxable, yes.
That's one of the best advantages of this program.
Yes.
What are the differences? Means if you compare the normal PhD program and this PMR, are there any difference? Means do we need to work a little bit more on exactly same work, but since you are selected in some specific program, you are getting something higher paid,
So
or the
we
work
cannot
has to be increased.
we cannot comment like this, like, is there any difference between normal PhD or PMRF PhD? So the if you see the selection procedures of PMRF, it
Mm-hmm.
makes your PhD slightly different, because if you are selected in PMRF, it says that you are doing some good work.
Correct.
So they expect that you do something more extra than a normal PhD.
Okay.
That is their criteria. So of course it is expected from the PMRF student that you should
Comparatively
enhance
a bit
your
more.
comparatively bit more. Yes,
Correct.
like one more thing I want to add here, that
Sure. Sure.
they also ask that you do some teaching work in your local colleges. Like if you
Oh.
are in IIT Gandhinagar, so
Mm-hmm.
they expect that I should go some other colleges, for
Mm-hmm.
diploma colleges or somewhere, to teach
Mm-hmm.
them. Uh, yes, this is an additional thing for a PMRF fellow.
It's a if you it's like if we give from ourselves, it's not compulsion, correct? We are not bound to do that. If we do that, it's a good, but no
No,
one can
yes.
compulsory
Earlier
tell us.
it was like it was just expected, but now I think they will now try to enforce this thing, and they will try to regulate and assess your teaching performance in nearby colleges.
Okay, that's good. Just one thing. How was your interview? Means what are the stages of this selection process? What are your strategies for the interviews? How you crack that interview? Before going to the interview part itself, one add-on question that whether they ask any SOPs or not. If yes, then
Yes.
how to prepare that?
So SOPs are required everywhere. So if you
Mm-hmm.
prepare for interview, SOPs are required.
Mm-hmm.
So not by the name SOP, they call it proposal. So
Okay.
they
Research
asked me
proposal, I
to
guess.
prepare. Yeah, they asked me to prepare 1,000 words proposal.
Mm-hmm.
So I submitted, but for that it took around 2 months to prepare for me, and I was in second year, and I
Mm-hmm.
was that time I was doing coursework a lot.
Correct.
So to prepare a good research problem, to prepare a research problem with clarity, so you
Mm-hmm.
have to give good time on your research work. So I did lot of survey, literature survey.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do literature survey, we get to know what to do, what not to do.
Correct.
You get to know that this how to formulate the research problem and how to
Mm-hmm.
achieve the research problems you have defined.
Correct.
So when you go through, suppose you go through 30, 40 papers or 50 papers, and
Mm-hmm.
you make a summary, you make a notes, and then you define with the consultation of your supervisor at three good research problem,
Okay.
and try to know, are these research problems can be achieved in the given timeline. This is very
That
important.
is one of the most
sometimes
important tasks.
sometimes what we do, we do some fantasy work. We are do
Correct.
something like we will do, but it is not feasible to do given the
Correct.
constraint of timeline and resources. So
Mm.
when you prepare research problems, you must know, uh, uh, are these doable in the
Correct.
sense that you should know what resources you have
Are available.
and are available, and your timeline. So you
Mm.
can't do your work for 10 years, you have to
Correct.
complete your work by 3 and 4 years. So
Mm.
these two are main constant, time and resources. So
Correct.
based on this, you prepare your research statement, and when
Mm-hmm.
you prepare these research statement, your thoughts should be very clear. It should be very clear, from basics to in-depth knowledge.
Okay.
So one clue I want to give students, that suppose someone is reading literature. So
Mm-hmm.
think, when sometimes we read literature, we are new to the field. Suppose after
Correct.
BTech I joined PhD. So I am
Mhm.
totally new to this field. So
Mhm.
sometimes when while reading the literature, it took 3 days, 4 days to understand what they are saying. So
Correct.
try to understand where the problem statement lies. In the paper,
Mhm.
there are some paragraphs where you will find that these paragraphs are important for you because they define the problem
Problem.
statement
Correct.
objectives. So you will
Mhm.
find in introduction part.
Yes.
So and the related goal, like why these are important, where we find application of these goals. So how are these relevant? So this related goal you will find in introduction section. Then you should
Mhm.
focus, if these are the problem, how will I achieve these objectives?
Okay.
So for that, what methodology we will have to devise. Sometimes we
Correct.
may carry out experimental work, sometimes we may carry out numerical simulation, sometimes both.
Mhm.
So
Correct.
these things, this clarity you must have before writing the SOP. Suppose I say that I have to calculate the scour around a bridge pier when a flood wave come in the river.
Mhm.
So when I say river, it is a
A
big
typical
thing.
civil engineering example.
Yes, yes. So when I say river, so it's a
Mhm.
river is a big computational domain because I mainly do computational work. So
Mhm.
the computational cost it involve it huge, and
Correct.
so it's advisable that you should know how to carry out this task. Where I have to do numerical model. If I do numerical model, is it possible to carry out the numerical simulation for that large river? If it is
Mhm.
possible, so what model I have to select, 2D or 3D, what are our objectives? So this clarity, I am not saying that you should exactly know what you will do, but you
Okay.
must have a very good idea that I have to do this, I can't do this. Why I am doing this? Because I have identified my objectives like this, so I am doing
Mhm.
this. So you have to pick up your such problems from the ocean of the knowledge.
So basically, you should have the basic idea that what your 5 years down the lane your project should go.
Yes,
The other important thing that you rightly mentioned it took you 2 months for you to finalize your research proposal.
yes,
That most aspirants, what they do, even when I took my example, when I was selected in IIT Madras, I had to write an SOP and I just cleared it in one day. So you do understand that it's your selection procedure and it depends on that one piece of paper. So writing it in one day won't make any good difference or good image on your part. If you are really interested, you have to spend some time and that too, quality time. Just apart from that, do they ask questions from the research proposal or they just take it for the selection round, or they actually ask questions or they ask you to explain those topics from the research proposal
so see
in the
it
interview round? I am
depends.
talking of the interview round. Sorry to interrupt you. Just.
Okay, so it depends case by case. So
Mhm.
suppose I was asked differently by the panel.
Mhm.
Some students were asked in different manner by the panel.
Correct.
So it depends case by case. So for example, in my case, what happens? So in my case, they asked few basic questions,
Mhm.
but that were the part of my problem statement. Suppose I told them that I am going to carry out a numerical simulation for the peer around this. Just a typical example, not the exact problem statement. So they will ask, so what will you, how will you measure this cover? It's a very simple question. Very simple
Mhm.
question. How will you define this cover? How will
Mhm.
define you flood? So which
Mhm.
model do you use?
Correct.
So do you have any exposure of any numerical simulation? So how the discover happens around the bridge. So these are the related basic question. They will not ask you basic question directly. So they will come to your research proposal, they will come to your problem statement, and they
Mhm.
will try to assess your competence based on your knowledge. So
Correct.
to check your, to judge your competence for your, for the problem statement that you have prepared, you
Mhm.
have prepared for them. So they will ask like basic questions. They will try to know your clarity in your thought, and they will try to know what you will achieve when you will carry out this experiment or this model. So at the end you need some result, you need some
Correct.
result. So when you find those results, will those results uh, justify your earlier defined objectives? Sometimes what happens, we defined objectives, but in
Mhm.
due course we get some results slightly different, and we
Correct.
try to re-justify, re-modify the objectives.
Mhm.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, it's an
So
experiment.
yeah, it's an experiment. So these types of question they will ask to judge your research attitude and aptitude both.
Correct. just one add-on question. In the interview process, what are the students need to know? Means what are their preparation strategy should be? What they should prepare? Do they need to mug up things, or they need to go through the basics? Or what are your take on this?
So again, because I joined PhD directly after BTech, and
Mhm.
some people joined after MTech.
Correct.
So the case to case it varies. So when you
Mhm.
join after MTech, you have some good idea of your proposal, research background. When you
Mhm.
join after BTech, so you need to grow. You need to learn the research attitude and aptitude while doing PhD in the first half year and half year, 1 year. So
Correct.
what I suggest, the when you mug up things without knowing the physics, that will give no advantage to you. That will give no advantage to you. So know the you have to know the basic
Basic
things,
crux.
basic things with very good essence of the physics. So suppose I say there is cover happens around the bridge pier. So we may not know that if this amount of flood comes, so what will happen? What will be the magnitude of this cover around the pier? But we must know that what are the processes that that initiate the cover around the pier.
Okay.
This is the basic question for this problem statement. So
Correct.
before you start, you should know this. So when I ask, when you tell the interviewer that
Mhm.
uh, this is the physics behind how the cover happens around the bridge pier.
Mhm.
So this form the basic question. When you start narrating this basic idea to the interviewer, they will judge your physics. They will judge your ideas in depth for that proposal, for that problem statement. So my suggestion is, so go through the basics and build up a very good research problem based on the literature review
Okay.
and based on some good coursework, because you have to do some coursework also,
Correct.
especially for those who joined PhD, who joins PhD after just BTech.
Mhm.
So based on those things, with consultation of your guide and seniors, you
Mhm.
prepare good problem statements.
Correct. That was a good closure. Just a last question. Do they review over a period of time? Are there chances that the stipend get blocked or something of that sort?
Yes, it's a true that they will assess you annually.
Okay.
So based on your assessment, they will give you they will assess you on the basis of your work done in the last 1.5 year or 1 year or 2 years, based on their
Mhm.
how when they conduct the assessment process.
Okay.
So I attended that process of assessment.
Mhm.
So in that it happened after 2.5 years in my case,
Okay.
because it was the first time happening. So I think
Correct.
it will happen now annually, and
Mhm.
based on that assessment, they will categorize you in the excellent performer, satisfactory performer, and good performer, or needs to improve.
Okay.
Okay. So if your performance is really very bad, and
Mhm.
they think that there is no scope of improvement in his research, and
Mhm.
he has wasted a lot of time, so
Mhm.
they may take a final call
Okay.
for the termination of the
Termination kind
PMRF.
of thing.
And if they terminate you as a PMRF, it means
Mhm.
they will give you the normal fellowship, MHRD fellowship,
31,000 kind.
31,000. Yes.
Correct. That's a good insight. Uh, just this question might seem irrelevant, but this being a mind
Yes.
question, this question comes from mind. Like, if there are students who take more than 5 years in our country for PhD, so if you are enrolled in the PMRF, the you said that in the for first 2 years you get 70,000, then 75,000, and then 80,000. So if you extend after 5 years, do they get stipend 80,000, or it just shrinks
So
down to 31,000 or anything of that
so
sort?
through PMRF you will get nothing after 5 years.
Okay.
So you may get some fellowship based on some college norms. If college allows you, if college gives you some monthly stipend, or your
Okay.
faculty choose to give you some monthly stipend. So that
Okay.
depends on college and your supervisor.
Okay.
PMRF will stop giving you the
After
stipend
5
after the
years.
fifth year. Yes.
Oh, that's good. On that note, I would like to close this session. If you have anything to share specific, I would like you to have a note of that. or else we are good to close?
Okay, so there are some few suggestions I want to give
Yeah, please,
those who are
please.
preparing for PMRF. That you should form some good research problems. You should
Mhm.
have ideas of those research problem very thoroughly,
Mhm.
and just apply. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, man. It was really good to connect with you, and you being coming out and sparing your time from your research and helping the aspirants to guide as to what to prepare and how to prepare for this PMR sheet. I wish you all the luck, and I
Thank
wish
you.
that you come out with PhD with very soon time and in the very
Yes.
speedy PhD time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Signing off from my
Thank you,
side.
Deep.
Yeah.